Hello everybody, welcome to the Grand Prix review for the Spanish Grand Prix here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain. Let's start off then with what has been quite an exciting Grand Prix, to be fair, as well. It really was great. Max Verstappen, yes, taking victory number 32, but still it was a great one as well. Verstappen on with victory as well, 26 points because he also got the fast lap. Great weekend for him. Great weekend also for Sergio Perez, finishing in 4th position, managing to bounce back as well from a poor qualifying position. Max completely outclassed, doing a Grand Slam once again as well with pole position, leading every lap, fast lap as well, topping all the sessions. Fantastic job as well. He was top dollar. And Sergio Perez fighting back from a poor qualifying to finish in 4th. Great weekend for them. Here's what they had to say in the press conference.
It's been a really good weekend. I mean, the car was really nice to drive. Then you have a lot of confidence, to really get everything out of it, and quite natural as well. And then in the race, we knew that, of course, with that tire choice, maybe it was a bit more risky to turn one, but luckily everything worked out. And from there onwards, I could do my own race, even though on the hard compound I was not really happy. Probably the compound was a bit too hard for the conditions with colder weather and just not a lot of grip. Once I swapped back to the soft, I think you could see the gap was going up again, and that tire was just a bit better.
It was quite hard to pass actually. Once I was behind, who was it, Fernando, I really had to do his pace, so that meant that it was a little bit trickier. But it's what it is. I think if we wanted to finish high, we needed a much better qualifying. So looking forward for Montreal now.
Second team then we got to talk about is Mercedes, and this was the first weekend where the W14 really sort of shone as well. It's back to what it used to be, so it's a definite step forward for them. Hamilton second, Russell in third. The first time this year that neither Perez or Alonso have been on a podium alongside Max Verstappen, so a very good opportunity there for Mercedes to pick up 18 and 15 points for them. Hamilton, even though he crashed with Russell in the qualifying session, it was a good solid race between the two of them, and it ended with Hamilton second, Russell in third position as well. Here's what they had to say in the press conference.
This is what we were hoping for when we brought the upgrades. I mean, we had hoped for more in the sense of a bigger step. The actual performance step, they told us, was like under 2/10, so it wasn't like that's still good, but not the step that everyone's working so hard towards, but we'll take it. But this result is definitely what we're working towards, and this is amazing, and down to all the great work that's going on with the people back at the factory, just keeping their heads down. I hope everyone's feeling really proud back at the factory. And George did a great job today, so we've delivered good points on the whole.
I mean, we've always been strong in Barcelona, but the upgrades definitely worked as expected, which is really promising to see. And thanks a huge amount to everybody who put so much hard work and effort into this, because it's truly paying off. But we need to go into the next races. We're already looking ahead to the next updates and how we can close that gap to Red Bull.
When are those next updates coming?
Hopefully next race. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Wait for the headlines.
I think Mercedes are the best team on the grid in terms of development. We've seen it time and time again. We know where we fell short over the winter this year. We're going to do our best to claw that gap back to Red Bull.
Ferrari next up, and the weekend from hell sort of continues. Carlos Sainz finishing in 5th position, but Charles Leclerc outside of the points-paying position. This cannot keep happening to Ferrari as well. Great starts to weekends, then losing out massively in the second half. Great weekend from Sainz, but Leclerc was out in qualifying 1, only fought up to 11th in a race that had a load of strategy. So it was poor. It was really poor. Well done to Sainz. That's a good performance. Leclerc must do better as well. Here they are, what they had to say.
I think we actually maximized everything we had. I gave my absolute best both in the start and the race pace, and I'm just a bit gutted that we couldn't put in a bit of a stronger defense on the Red Bull and the two Mercedes, because they were just so much quicker than us that it wasn't even worth fighting them, because they would have passed me one lap later or another. So I did my absolute best, but unfortunately this is what we have now.
I mean, we've got so much work to do. It's very strange and very difficult to understand, because we go on the first set of hard and it feels so bad, no grip at all, especially the fronts. They were just really, really bad. And then you go in the second stint of hard, and then everything feels fine, and you just do exactly the same thing as a driver, and it just feels in a completely different place. So yeah, luckily we had much less problems compared to qualifying yesterday, where the car was more doing what we expected. Unfortunately, though, we still had these troubles with tyres, especially on the first stint.
Aston Martin, the fourth team we're talking about here today. Stroll 6th, Alonso 7th. Disappointing race for them, but they're waiting for upgrades that are coming in Canada as well. But Stroll beating Alonso on track for the first time this season. 8 points for Stroll, 6 points, for Alonso in P7. So a good weekend for Lance Stroll, finally beating Fernando. But they've got upgrades coming for the Canadian Grand Prix. They should be quick. Here's what they had to say in the press conference.
I was a little disappointed when, cars just started passing us, and we looked to be, we had a good start and then settled into third, and I hope we could, keep a good pace throughout the race, but just suffered a lot with degradation relative to, Mercedes mainly, and Ferrari as well. They just had a quicker car today.
When you get close to another car, you have some turbulent air, and I damaged one floor yesterday already. I didn't want to damage another one today, and I didn't want that he damaged the floor either. By defend. For us, it was the same 6th and 7th, and 7th and 6th, same points. So we just, bringing the car home felt the right choice.
Alpine now, and Esteban Ocon finishing in 8th position with Pierre Gasly in 10th as well. 4 points for Ocon, 1 for Gasly. 5 points in total for Alpine. Remarkably good performance for them. Really strong weekend. Looked to be almost best of the rest in outside of Red Bull at one point during the weekend. Then Mercedes came up as well, and after Aston and Ferrari disappeared. So good weekend for them. Strong foundation to build on after their podium as well in Monaco. Here's what they had to say.
The pace that we had today compared to yesterday in qualifying has dropped off significantly, and we were not as fast as Saturdays, as the good group in front, and that's what we need to work on and understand.
Do you know why it's fallen away from you? Was it conditions? Was it just track specific?
I think we know, yes, but making it a change that's going to be more tricky. But what we have to remember from the last 2 weeks is that, I've scored 19 points, in 2 races. This we can be extremely proud of. And we've made a huge step forward in terms of car pace. And I'm sure that we can, keep that going and find an extra leg into the race.
Starting from fourth would have been a very different race. Instead, I was 10th. Was just quite unlucky through 1 and 2. We were 3 wide in turn 2, and I had to open in the gravel not to have contact with Sergio. Lost 4 positions, so from qualifying fourth I ended up P14 on the first lap, which changed your race massively. So from there I was just trying to recover.
Alfa Romeo next up with Zhou Guanyu in 9th position, but Valtteri Bottas 19th and a lap down. Miserable weekend for Bottas and a miserable season sort of continuing again with not scoring points. And I said this back in Azerbaijan, he's got to improve, he's got to find that time. But Zhou Guanyu, 2 points there, perfect for him, being the only scorer so far in the championship for them. Let's take a look what they said.
It was a well-executed race from my side. I think one of the best to date for me, performance in Formula One, and really good first lap gave us the opportunity to do something this race. And the pace was strong, time management was crucial. We made it to the end, keep the pressure high. So when there's a chance, I tried it, force other 4 mistakes. So everything was in the right control, under control. So really happy to finally grab some more points.
Something is broken or wrongly installed or something. Just I'm more than 1 second off the pace sliding around. It's quite frustrating.
How do we fix this? Is it
we
fixable?
will find out. I'm sure we'll find out something, whether it's mechanical or error. I don't know, but I think since yesterday something is just not correct.
AlphaTauri next up as well. Tsunoda in 12th, De Vries 14th. A painful weekend for them. A weekend where they sort of went, oh yeah, we're not actually as quick as we thought we might be as well. Disappointing from De Vries again. Really disappointing from Tsunoda. Must do better. They were banking on the wet weather. Didn't come. That's what they had to say in the press conference.
To be honest, it's, after I gave it literally everything, every lap, and I feel like it's really harsh, that penalty, to be honest, in my perspective, and there's still space there and just other car suddenly run off the area and pretend like he got forced, but there was still space. He could still stay in the track. So in my perspective, I don't know, but it's hard to accept the reality that I lost points after that big race. So yeah, it's disappointed. Yeah, really disappointed.
I think we lost too much ground in lap 1. I don't really have a clear explanation for it. I think we were just at the wrong place. We obviously started on the inside and we stick to that through 1, 2, and there was something happening in front, so I had to jump on the brakes. And in the beginning, I was struggling a little bit, but from basically the last, I'd say 25 laps onwards, we were very competitive. So I think we just need to try and put it better together, and I think then we are pretty competitive.
McLaren, McLaren. Get a Piastri in 13th, Lando Norris 17th. Lando started 3rd, got hit by Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton never got a penalty for it, and it was Lando who lost out on an early pit stop. A horrible day for Lando. It could have been a podium. It should have been a podium, and it was Lewis Hamilton who denied him. Really, really poor stuff there for McLaren. Really unfortunate. They're the unlucky underdogs here today, and this is what they had to say in the press conference. Lando's not happy.
Disappointing afternoon. Didn't have a very good first lap from myself, and then we just had not a lot of pace after that. So tricky afternoon. Need to understand why, because it cooled down a bit, which we liked, but still didn't have enough pace. So need to have a look at why we weren't quick enough today.
We knew we were going to be slow and difficult to get in the points. Our target was to try and be in the points today, whether it was 9th or 10th or something. So obviously race lap 1 cost us everything, but at the same time would have been unlikely to finish in the top 10 today. So I guess everyone's expectations were too high after yesterday, which we tried to manage as much as we could, but at the same time today was the pace that we've had all year, and we're just normal paced. Yesterday was just unknown special day for us.
Haas then Williams as well to round out. Haas with Hülkenberg in 15th, Magnussen in 18th. Don't know where they were this weekend. The pace they've had the past couple of races has just evaporated since Monaco and now here in Spain. As well, Hülkenberg did okay. Magnussen underperforming once again. How long until he's replaced once more? That's what they had to say.
Tough, difficult. Unfortunately, the deck was really high for us. And we had to 3-stop the race, where I think a lot of the competition 2-stopped. And still the pace is just as similar to them, so it looks at first glance that over 1 lap obviously we're competitive, but in the long runs we still have some homework to do and some pace and deck to find.
At the beginning of every stint it was very competitive, but our tires just fell off so quickly, and we had to do a 3-stop, which wasn't optimum. So hopefully we can try and learn about what caused it and improve, but certainly it was a tough race.
Final team on the board then with Williams, and it's Albon 16th with Sargent 20th, but that makes it that every single driver who started the race finished it, which is the second time that's happened this season behind Miami, and the 13th time in Formula 1 history that's happened as well. So a good strong performance there. This is what the Williams guys had to say in the press conference.
We can't really get too much better because we don't have upgrades, so we can do so much with the setup of the car and improve it that way, but we've got to wait for that to happen really. So it felt like we were optimising our weekends. I don't really think we did too much wrong in qualifying or in the race. Unfortunately, these kind of, let's call them normal circuits, expose us a little bit. Hopefully, when we go to a track like Canada, we can do a bit better.
That was a positive first 3/4 of the race, but the last stint didn't go well. Don't really know why. Just couldn't find the pace, lack of grip, quite a lot of tire drag. So not sure why this variation from stint to stint. We'll have to understand that, but it was always going to be a tricky one.
Okay, so next up it's the Canadian Grand Prix as well. Back over to North America. It's going to be a great, great race. One of my personal favourites. We'll see you then. From us all here, take care. Bye-bye.